Good morning, good morning, good morning. I suppose technically good afternoon. Welcome to this how to avoid the three biggest revision mistakes, which Ronnie and I have basically put our heads together and thought back over all our experience. Where do most students go wrong and how can you best avoid it? So we're going to be doing that with us today. Stick with us basically because we will also be giving a little competition out. So someone's going to walk away with the course as subscription free for the rest of this year till July, totally free. There's also going to be a coupon in the description for some money off the subscription if you want to start one right now. And basically it's going to really, if you can avoid making these mistakes over the next, 14 weeks, is it, until the A-level exams? Yeah, 14 weeks. Then basically you're going to see a massive difference. It will make all the difference between 1, 2, possibly even 3 grades. So we're not going to chew around very much. We're going to get straight into it today. So Ronnie, what are we doing?
Yeah, we're going to, basically there are 3 big mistakes, and while we're talking through them, I want you to think about whether or not you've done this, and if so, we're going to be talking about why you might have done it, why are they popular revision strategies, why are they actually a really bad idea, and then what should you do instead. So we're not just going to say don't do these things, we're actually going to give you an alternative that might be better. And we're going to try to keep ourselves from chatting away, because we could talk about this all day because it is genuinely really interesting, but I'm going to have a timer on. We're going to do 3 minutes per mistake, and then we're going to see what you think. Right, who's going to start? Who's doing mistake number 1?
Me, I think I'm up first. All right, okay, so, 3 minutes. First revision mistake is revising topic by topic. And now I'm talking about revision, not learning. You can't start by learning things and mix topics all over the place. You need to learn sequentially to some extent, although spiraling is a really good idea. But revising topic by topic is not a good idea. The other, basically, you start at the beginning of the spec and you work your way through, and it feels really nice. Why do you do it? We're going to do it, and I actually go to my notes here. So basically, you know you've got gaps in your knowledge and you just don't know where they are. Maybe you missed some lessons, maybe you didn't get a topic the first time round and you didn't spend the time to go back and actually make it really solid in your knowledge. What else have we got? Basically, you've forgotten AS content.
I was talking to a student this week on the phone about this desire to just start topic 1 and go to topic 10. And she said that basically she just doesn't feel like she knows what she doesn't know. So she can't go do the thing she doesn't know because she hasn't got a clue what she doesn't know. So she's got to go through all of it in order to identify the bits that then need doing. So that's a reason why your brain might say that it's a really good idea.
Yeah, it feels nice. Yeah, it feels reassuring. It feels like you've got a plan. You can go from, you can tick things off and you can work your way through it really nice and sequentially. It sort of also, you see, study grammars and YouTube bloggers with their super organized, beautiful notes, and you feel like you want to be part of that club because they're organized, they've got their things together, therefore they must know everything super well. Well, that's why students do it. Why it doesn't work is because if you begin at the beginning and you work your way through, by the time you get towards the end, topic 8, topic 9, topic 10, you've probably already forgotten the stuff that you did at the beginning. Also, it doesn't prepare you for the exam very well at all. There are also, let me know in the chat, how many of you for biology have done specific revision topics on the apparatus and techniques, or the statistics skills, or the math skills? You just do topics because they're in the textbook, but you forget that there is a whole bunch of others that recall knowledge that you don't actually study as a topic, and you leave these whole things out. Also, it doesn't do any spaced repetition. All the learning theory is going to tell you that spaced repetition is the way to go, that you should keep coming back to things, and revision is about pulling information out of your head, about retrieval, about basically trying to test yourself on these things. And filling in notes and starting at the beginning and going through the end just doesn't do any of those things. You don't get any skills practice, no skills practice. So like in your exams, like about 60+% of the A-level biology exam is application, is skills, is cross-topic questions that are going to link topics together. If you only revise one thing, then that is a major problem with that. Do I not finish? What do I do now? What do I do now, boss? I've used my 3 minutes.
Tell him, Rich, he's only got 10 seconds. The other thing that we wanted to mention about this one is that if you do this method, then your time revising is not proportional to the importance of the topic. So you're putting the same amount of time into each topic. Time is up. The alternative that we are going to suggest to you is that you use the TT method, and it is going to tick all of the boxes that we've just talked about why topic by topic doesn't work, and the TT method does work. Right, number 2.
Yeah, we'll go back in more I had my 3 minutes. I was cut off. I think I failed in my mission to get all three things
I'm in
done.
charge of time. I'm in charge of time. I am the boss. Rich. Number 2, go.
I am number 2, quite literally Rich number 2. So what's the second biggest mistake that students make? And that is waiting till you've done your revision or think that you've learned all the content before doing past papers. There's this real kind of false idea that, you know, you shouldn't do any past papers until, oh, I can't possibly do a past paper, because you treat them like these precious things until after you've done all your revision. That is a very bad idea. I mean, what is the point of doing a past paper? Give us your answers in the chat. Why do you do past papers as part of your revision? Give me an idea of why you think you do them. But why is it a bad plan to leave it until after you've done your revision? Okay, yeah, to practice, absolutely, yeah. Some of them hone exam technique and all those kinds of things. Do you really want to do that the last couple of weeks before your exam? No, you don't. Okay, so it's a really bad idea, because, you know, just doing your revision, and a lot of those things can be really passive. This, you know, doing past papers is active. You need to learn exam technique. You'll be able to spot you know, the ways in which they ask questions, the flow of a paper you get used to. You know, it's you've got to get exam fit, and you're not going to do that just by making beautiful notes and tables and flashcards and things like that alone. You need to be drawing that information out constantly. And that's why it's a bad idea to leave them until the end, okay? Especially leaving, oh, I can't possibly do the 2019 ones for my 2020 exam until like the week before. It's just a really, really bad idea. So what is a better idea than not doing it? Well, doing it. And that's where the TT method comes in. Instead of, like Rich said, you working topic by topic, you actually work on all your topics. And then it tells you, it informs you what areas you actually really need to work on, especially using the TT method, because you're thinking about why you got those questions wrong instead of going...
Together, there's just a comment in the chat that I think is really, really important. There's only a limited number though, so I don't want to use them all up.
No.
So you've got 15 new spec papers and 14 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And if you do one a week, then you're well set. You've done all your past papers. And do not think for a second that once you've done a past paper, it's dead to you, because you redo them, okay? And that's what the TT method's all about. You do learn, your grade will improve. Do not think, like I say, that, you know, once you've done it once, it's dead to you. Oh, I've seen that question. It doesn't matter. You leave it 24, 48 hours before doing it again, mark it, analyze it, do 3 action hours, then do it again 24 hours later. Then it's going to be almost like a new paper to you. You'd be amazed about how quickly you forget what the questions are and what the mark scheme is. And it's all good practice.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. Like if you do each paper once, give it some time, come back to it. With one cycle of the TT method, it's going to take you somewhere between, well, 6 to probably 10 hours really per paper. So that's per week, per subject. That's a lot of work. You've got plenty to be getting along with. There's lots of past papers out there, and don't be afraid to do them at least twice before you get into the exam.
My turn. I've put the timer on for myself so I don't keep going. My mistake is making a plan, a revision plan, which connects together in advance a particular topic or a particular task with a particular day. Even worse, you might make a revision plan that links a topic with a day and a time. So you might be thinking, but that's what a revision plan is. It's got the number of days until the exam, and then what you do is you share out the jobs between the days and you put them in. I'm going to be doing these things, and that's what a revision plan is. And we need to start with a revision plan. And I'm going to say to you, no, you really don't. Why do we like the idea? It gives us a sense of control. It means that we don't feel as panicky. Why is it a bad idea? Because almost certainly by the end of day 1 or day 2, you're going to have screwed up your plan if you're a normal human. And then you're demotivated, you're stressed, you're feeling behind, you need to make a new plan. You end up spending a huge amount of time making plans. And every time you get behind and make a new plan, you're putting more and more onto each day, which means that it's more and more unlikely that you won't be able to do what it says in a day. The other reason, yeah, it's stress. Yeah.
You get behind and now you're not meeting up to your plan, and you feel the weight of your own expectation upon yourself, plus everyone else's expectation that you perceive to be on you. It's just like catastrophe for mental health.
Absolutely. And the more stressed you are, being stressed is a physical thing. It's not just a mental thing, it's a physical thing. And when your brain and your body are in a state of stress, your brain is not in a good position to be gaining knowledge and forming connections and doing synthesis. It's feeling scared and it's going into scared mode. And so getting rid of stress as much as possible will mean that every second you put into your study, you get more out of it. So that's one reason. And the other reason is that it comes back to what Rich and Richard both said about spaced repetition. So not always coming back to things the whole time, and also proportional time to importance. So putting more time into more important things, which at this stage you don't know. You don't know what the most important things are. You're not experienced in that way. So why is the TT method better? Because what the TT method does is give you a sheet of paper, an MID sheet that you can work through over the space of a week or the space of 4 days if you're going super fast. And that you've got that structure, you look at it and it tells you what to do, but you're doing it over a week, not this day I'll do this day I'll do this. You just have a week and you keep an eye on it and you know that you need to get there by the end of the week, and it allows you to ebb and flow through the week, and natural things happen. You have a day off, somebody calls you stuff. It doesn't mean you need to make a whole new plan, but it does ensure that when you get to that exam day, you're going to be perfectly prepared. Boom, 4 seconds. Quite proud of that.
Can I just say there's a couple of people saying that the links to those MID sheets in our description aren't working. They were working. I'm not entirely sure why they're not now.
This happened to me the other day. Something happened to me when I uploaded, when I actually hit broadcast live. Everything went a bit weird, but we'll get them sorted out for the description afterwards. So if we can't fix it right now, but if they're not working, then we'll get them working within an hour of us.
Yeah, straight after the live, we'll fix it.
Who's used those MID sheets this week? Let me ask you some questions. We've been doing a lot of talking so far. That is, in a nutshell, the advice we're going to give. We're now going to double questions, and we can give you a bit more concrete steps of what you should do as opposed to what you shouldn't do. Okay, so who's used the half-term pass this week? Give me a yes or a no. Yes or no, I don't care, but I'd like all 100 plus of you to give me a yes or a no. Just send that whole wall into yeses and nos. Who's used the half-term pass? Just to give us a bit of an idea as to whether you've seen inside the exam guide, seen inside the content guide. Who's used the MID sheets with the TT method? Give me a TT revision method. That's maybe a bit long. Give us a TT in the chat. MID. If you've used the MID sheet, give us an MID. Lots of yeses.
Oh, what's an MID sheet? I think we can explain that.
Yeah, I don't have one to share right now. If anyone's got one on their iPad, we can maybe go through it, or maybe on a website, Ronnie, maybe on the website.
Yeah, I should do maths one, or chemistry, or biology.
Anything you like, surprises.
All right, so I'll show off with my favourite one.
What's been most useful to you this week is another question I've got for you. If you have been using it, what have you found the most useful? What's it helped you with that you maybe didn't think it was going to help you with? And yeah, who's done the TT revision method where they've done the paper, they've marked it, they've analyzed it, they've done 3 action hours, and then they've done the paper again? I want to say, just give me a TT in the chat if you have done that. If you've done the paper, this is the TT method in brief. You do the paper, closed book, time conditions, always. You then take a break, mark and analyze your paper using our MID sheet, which we're about to show you. You basically negatively mark it, recording every single mark that you drop. And you're only going to focus your revision hours on the areas where you drop the most marks. This is how you can ensure the time you're spending is most effective, and the time you're spending is the ones that comes up on the exams in terms of marks the most. There is no point in biology spending a whole day or half a day revising some topics that never or very rarely ever come up. By using the papers to structure your revision, you are going to, by definition, be working on the things that are worth the most marks in the exam. So then once you've recorded where you drop your marks, you then put them into categories, and then we'll show you where you spend your revision time, your action hours revising, to basically spend your time on the things you need to work on the most. It means you don't leave anything that the exam could ask you unrevised.
Okay, so here is the maths one. Obviously I chose that one to show you. And so basically the thing that's different in maths is that each question is on one topic, whereas in biology and chemistry, there's a lot of cross-topic questions. And also in maths, pretty much the same questions come up all the time. And also there's less content in maths. So the big focus in maths is on doing similar questions rather than the content, but I will talk you through. So this is an MID sheet for one paper. You print one of these per paper. The T2 method is as Rich just described. So you can tick as you go along, do the paper, negatively mark and analyze, tick your FFS journal that you've done that, do 1, 2 or 3 action hours, depending on what happens here, and then repeat the paper. Now, if when you repeat the paper you do badly, then you're going to just repeat this whole process, print off a new one, start again.
For the same paper, the exact same paper. That doesn't mean a different paper.
This is the exact same paper.
You don't move on. You don't move on to the next paper until you're well up there. You've done probably 1 grade above what you hope to get in the summer.
Yeah, at least 10% above what you hope for in the summer. I'd say really 20%, given that you've done the whole paper, looked at the mark schemes and everything. So the other rule is that don't redo the paper if there's been 24 hours since you looked, if there's been less than 24 hours since you looked at one of the questions, because what you're trying to do is capture the moment when your brain starts to forget. And then you're getting that exact moment when you pull it back forward, and that forms the strongest links in your brain if you catch that moment to do the repeat. So not doing the repeat too soon is very, very important.
That's it. There's a couple of questions in the chat. I just want to kind of highlight now, just while we're talking about it. First question is there enough time to do this before the exams? Absolutely. You've got 14 weeks. What you're looking to do is 1 paper per subject per week. So like 3 papers if you're doing 3 subjects. Okay. And you know what? It negates the need for managing like a revision timetable, because this is going to inform your revision, your 3 action hours, and then you repeat the paper. And another question was, how do I know what classes is doing badly? What you should aim for before you move on to the next paper is to get a grade that's 1 above your target grade, because you know you're doing the same paper, right? So if you do your first paper and let's say your target grade's an A and you get a C, well, you know, that's obviously not good enough. You do some revision, you leave it 24 hours at least, redo the paper again after you've done your 3 action hours, and you'll see your grade massively improve. You should, after doing the paper once, get at least an A in that, okay? And then you know you can move on to the next paper. But what you'll see is your first attempt, the grades you get for your first attempt for each paper will go up and up and up, okay? And that's the whole point of this. Of course, you're going to get a better grade second time round on the same paper. That's fine, but you're learning, and that what you learn will be applied to the next paper as well. So your first attempt grade, you will see that go up and up and up as you
so next time you repeat that paper, you do the first attempt, and maybe your first attempt you get a B this time on the second, and then the second attempt you get an A star, and then you move on to the next paper and your first attempt gets to an A. So it's all about, because when you do your real exam, it will be your first attempt. So it's getting your first attempt grade up. Try it. We challenge you. Give it a go.
So maybe while I explain what the FFS and the content and the exam things are, maybe Rich, could you find that lovely example that a student sent us this week or last week of the progress?
The progress tracker. Yeah, yes. I would like, I think if a student doesn't know what this is, just go the questions down the left-hand side, just go a very basic overview of how you'd use it. Let me find that.
This here, if you click on, these are all links. If you click on these, it will take you to the videos for this particular question. It will take you to a video of how to solve the question, and solutions to the question, and also the mark scheme for the question. So lots of different bits of information about this question. This link is for if you didn't know some content. So you need to go to the content guide. That will take you to the lesson on that topic. And then these links take you to similar questions. So you can have a very similar question, basically same question, different numbers, or you can have a whole question pack of old spec questions that are still in the new spec, or you can have a test question, which is a new spec on the same topic from an exam. The thing is, when you're doing your negative marking and analysis, I'll just explain how you do this. So when you're marking, you can use the videos that we've made on every single question, telling you how the marks are allocated, so you know exactly how much to give yourself. The point is that you focus on the marks that you drop. This is marks I dropped. You don't focus on the marks that you've gained. And students have told us that even this simple thing has made a massive difference to the way that they're revising. So let's say on question 1, I dropped 4 marks. And the first one that I dropped is because I wrote down 5 on one line and then I wrote down 3 on the next line because why? I don't know, just because of crazy. Or maybe a minus sign disappeared or turned itself into a plus. Or I did The other day I did 9 divided by 2 is 3. Anything like that, that when you look at it, you look at the mark scheme and you look at what you did and you just think FFS. That's what you think. So I would write a 1 in here because I dropped 1 mark for something that I'm just like, I can't believe I did that. If I dropped a mark or 2 because I literally didn't know it, I'm looking at the mark scheme and I say, well, I literally didn't know that. Then I put a 2 here, and that would encourage me to go in this direction to the content guide. Whereas if I dropped, say, 3 marks for part C because I just had no clue what to do, and I do know everything about the line equation, I just didn't realize that I had to do that, and that for this particular problem, then I would write 2 or 3 here. And then that would encourage me to go this way. When I filled in the whole sheet, then I go to my FFS journal. Students are having a great time making their FFS journals this week. This is a audio diary, video diary, piece of paper. Some people have got an actual physical little notebook, and you write in everything you did that when you looked at it, you thought FFS, frustrating, fail, or slip. Then you forget about that lot. You're just never going to do it again. It's in your journal. And then all you have to do, this is what's so lovely about this. It means that it takes all the stress out of planning a complicated revision strategy. You simply look down these numbers and you find the biggest one. And whatever the biggest one is, you make a decision whether to go to the left and watch the video tutorial or to go to the right and practice similar questions. And you do 3 hours max. And then you look at the paper, and it's that simple. I hope it's simple.
Okay, let me share that just progress tracker. People are seeing in the chat, I can see, but surely I'm just getting better marks because I remember the mark scheme. Well, this is basically a student who sent this to me from when we are a little bonus course, which in fact, if you subscribe this month, you're going to get included in that bonus course. And more about that later. We're just going to give you information about the actual revision tips right now. So first attempt, so you can see that these 3 attempts here are the same paper. So first attempt is down here. We put the rough percentages on here first. So this is actually not even a D at this point. Next paper, the next attempt at the same paper massively shoots up, and the third attempt at the same paper obviously is getting better as well. But then look at this. So and then you move on to the next one, your next fresh paper, different color. But grade improvement there is between the first attempt here and the first attempt here. And you find that you'll get bigger progress in the beginning and it will get harder to make those gains, but you're picking off, this is the whole point. You're gonna pick off the things that you are weak on and the things that you drop most marks on first. You're gonna fill those gaps, and they are gonna be the ones there, if there's lots of marks on the paper for it, by negatively marking and recording where you're losing marks rather than where you are gaining marks. And then all you have to do is put them into those 3 categories. Was it just a brain fart? You just, I forgot to write the units. Okay, I probably won't do that. That has to go in your journal, because then you can see patterns of you doing these things, and maybe you can build some patterns that are going to help you prevent making those mistakes in the real exam. Was it lack of content knowledge? You didn't know it, in which case, that's when you go and do those topics. You now know which topics to do, as opposed to just doing all the topics topic by topic. Or was it exam skills? Did you not have the exam technique that you needed? You maybe know the mark scheme results, but you just didn't know that you had to write those ones. And that's an exam technique thing. And obviously you can't get that by just doing topic revision. So by just categorizing your errors and systematically, this is your plan. There is no need for any other timetable. This directs your entire revision between now and the exam. You don't need to do literally anything else. You do your classwork, any homework your teacher gives you, you do the exams, you then do your revision action hours based upon your weaknesses, and then you repeat. And then you repeat. You've got a structure, you've got a plan. You can then work with confidence, know you're working on the things that you have the biggest problems with, and you will see your mark. We've got that progress tracker, we'll share that with you. You will be able to see your first attempt on those papers going up and up and up and up. I guarantee it. Any questions in the chat?
There's a question, I'm not sure it's been answered. I was just scrolling back up and making sure everything had been answered about bundles. Would it be possible for one of you to share screen and show?
Yeah, I've actually got that up right now. So let me do that. I can just show you our, if people are interested in getting a bundle, we could probably make this a little bit clearer.
I was just going to do that same thing as well.
Okay, so this is the TT website. Just sharing that with you. You've obviously got all the information on it here. Pick your subject. It actually doesn't matter which subject. If you want biology and chemistry and maths as a combo, then you can choose any of these. The pricing is down here. We're actually going to add a pricing page just for the pricing on. I think it'll make it easy. So if you want the whole A level, then you don't need to do anything. If you're a year 12 student, you just want the AS content only, just choose the toggle, whichever one's right for you. And then if you want more than one subject, then the button is here, and then you choose 1 subject, 2 subject, or 3 subjects. If you want 2 subjects, then you can then choose biology or chemistry, chemistry and maths, or biology and maths. You take your pick, and that is as simple as that. So that is how you use it, and then it will take you to go and start a subscription, basically.
Yeah, I think one thing to note, guys, is that if you are getting a bundle, it's not going to ask you what exam board you do. What you do is you tell us what exam board you do after the checkout, okay? So if you're doing a single subject ultimate guide, then it'll ask you there and then what you're going to do. But for the bundles, we ask you after the checkout, and all you need to do is select which exam board you want, and those are the ones you're going to get, okay? So it won't ask you before checkout, it'll ask you after for the bundles. One thing people are asking about the tracking sheets and the MID sheets and things, I mean, they're all going to be within the course. I think the best place for them is going to be in our exam guide. We're going to have those for every single paper, essentially. So we're going to build those out. We're going to have an overall kind of PDF to kind of guide you through the TT method as well, so you can track your progress on what papers you've done for your subjects and what have you. So yeah, everything will be there. We'll put those in the exam guide, so you guys can get started on that, and we'll release them as time goes on. So we'll be ahead of you in terms of working your way through the specimen paper to 2017 to 2018 and so on and so forth. The 2019 papers, incidentally, they will be released on the exam guide, but only when the exam boards release them to the public. So we're looking around just after Easter, I think, is probably when they get released, but we'll keep an eye on the exam boards, and as soon as the exam boards release them, that's when we'll release them as well.
Wonderful.
I would like, I know we deliberately sort of told you those 3 revision mistakes at the beginning quite quickly, just so that you've got them clear in your head. But I'm quite interested in, what you guys think about each of those mistakes. Like, which ones do you you feel like link to you the most? So the first one was, well, you tell me, everybody.
Yeah, so what was the first one? What was the one that I went through with you? What was
my
choice?
This is a test now.
Yeah.
Who knows what those mistakes are? What was that?
And if you can't remember the one that I did, then maybe you can share any of the top 3, and we're then going to go over them a bit more and see. I mean, I certainly did a lot of these when I was a student. Ethan, I think you were first in there. Yeah, revising topic by topic. There's just a massive delay. So I'm sorry if you were super quick on the chat. There's maybe a 6 or 7 second delay whilst we wait for the chat to come through. But yes, revising topic by topic, or starting at the beginning and just working your way through in an order. Feels lovely. Who does this? Who does this? Hands up. I used to do this.
I used to do it.
Yeah. We all used to do it.
Yeah. I definitely used to be in this boat. Yeah, and I get it. Like, it feels good. You're filling in gaps. You know you've got gaps. You just don't know what the gaps are or what the relevant, important topics are. You don't know that, because how could you? Because you're going through this for the first time. So how does it feel? Does it feel like crazy advice to say don't revise by topic, or does it make sense to you to use the papers to structure what you should be doing, and then working on, like, give us some feedback basically on, does it make sense to you, or does that not make sense to you?
And I think the thing as well that I would like to ask you about, just talking about this first one, the idea of revising paper by paper, not topic by topic. It's so ingrained in us that topic by topic is what we should do. And it feels so natural that you will feel yourself gravitationally pulled towards going back to that method. So just, can we confirm and agree all of ourselves now, why are we saying that's not a good idea? Why are we saying that you should put your textbook to one side, pick up a paper, and not worry about going through topic 1, then topic 2? What were the reasons for that? It is more effective to do the way that we're suggesting, but why? What is it about topic by topic that is not a good idea? There were a few key things that Rich mentioned that it doesn't do, that is bad.
Yeah, and we're not saying don't do any topic revision. That's not what we're saying. Obviously, you are going to have weak topics that you need to go back and do some topics on. But once you've done the past paper question and you've got, 3 out of 12 for that particular topic, and it was just, I didn't know it, and you just did badly on it, then go away, and your action hours, your revision time, those 3 study blocks that you're going to do revising that paper, can be spent doing that topic, as opposed to just grinding topic by topic and just going through them for topic's sake, basically.
So there's two things that people have picked up on, which is really good, but there's one that's missing. So the 2 that you've picked up on is, number 1, by the time you get to topic 10, you've forgotten topic 1. And number 2 is that whilst you're doing topic work, you're not doing exam technique, and actually exam technique, timing, stress in exams, like the way that you structure your answers to get all the marks, that's equally important as content. So those 2 have been really remembered. The one that nobody has mentioned is that if you do that, you are putting more time into things that deserve less time. So not all topics are equal. There are things which are going to come up every year, are worth a lot of marks, and you can get better on very quickly. Those things we're going to put more time into. There are things that take a lot of time to revise. Probably you make very slow progress, even if you're putting hours and hours in. They hardly ever come up, and when they do come up, they're only worth a couple of marks. They should not be getting equal time. So what this method does that topic by topic doesn't do is it spreads your time, and it gives more to more important things and less to less important things.
Yeah, and I think that, as Ronnie said, for chemistry, certainly, and I'm sure the other subjects as well, you'll see common questions come up and be like, oh, I remember this one. This one was like the specimen paper that I did, 3 papers ago. They do use very similar things. And somebody just mentioned that, well, what if the exam board throws like a curveball and like has put something in there that hasn't been in there for ages? It's like, well, that's the gamble, isn't it? At the end of the day, I think, is it more likely to come up because it's been in every year so far, or is it less likely to come up because it's been in every year so far? I mean, going through all the papers, you'll realize that actually, I haven't seen any questions on electrochemistry or on this aspect of electrochemistry. Well, then you can go away and do that. So going through the past papers also helps you recognize what has come up over the last few years and maybe what hasn't as well. I mean, they can throw curveballs. Don't even get me started about AQA and cobalt and all that.
But I think this is really good because now there's the fears are starting to come out as we talk through it. Yes, but so Coffee Cup is saying, but if you go through the whole topic, then you know everything. And that's right back to what we started with. It makes you feel more secure. There's no evidence at all that that's going to make your grade higher, but it makes you feel more secure. You know everything, or at least you think you do. You haven't tested yourself yet, but you've got a piece of paper with it all on, so you feel a lot better. And then the other question from Coffee Cup was, how do you know that the same sorts of questions will come up? No one knows apart from the examiners. Well, number 1, I am an examiner, so yes, I do know. And number 2 is that exam boards are businesses, right? Schools choose which exam board to do. If an exam board went totally left field, chucked in loads of curveballs and students came out unhappy, schools would switch exam board and the exam board would not be in business anymore. It is a business, it's education, but it's also a business. It's not how examining works. There are always, and there has to be legally, there are always a spread of questions which cover the same topics every single year, which allows students who are at the bottom end, don't really like saying bottom and top, but at the not a star end, to feel that they can show what they've learned. That is a legal requirement of all exam boards. So to Coffee Cup is the answer to all of your questions.
And how do I know? How do I know what questions and what the pattern is? You can't get this overview because you've not done that many past papers yet. If you do all 15, you will see the patterns actually beginning to emerge quite quickly. But I've done more than 1,000 A-level biology past papers, more than 1,000. I can tell you with very strong confidence that I will tell you right now, here's a prediction. There will be a question on protein structure on the A-level biology exam this year. I 100% guarantee year, because there is every single year. The context of that question could be anything. Receptors, it could be a completely novel context and give you a diagram of a protein you've never seen before, but it will link to topics that you have already done. There are things that will always be on the exam, and there are some things that are on the exam maybe once every 7 years. That's why, which one are you going to spend your time revising? The one that's on every exam, or the one that comes up once every 7 years? Okay, we can't guarantee that that 1 in 7 years doesn't come up for you, but if you've got a solid basis on all the rest of the exam, you get half marks on one question because you're a bit shaky on it, then that's okay. In biology, you only need 65% for an A star and 50-ish 5% for an A. You can get 45% of the marks wrong and still get an A. Doesn't matter if one question is not that great. Okay, so that was revising topic by topic. Leaving it, it's too late to start past papers. Who thinks that, and again, I fell into this category, who thinks that you don't want to start using a past paper because you haven't finished your revision yet? So if that's you, give me a yes or a no. Like, are you prepared to start a paper? Like, do you want to wait to start papers until you've finished your revision? And if the answer to that is yes, I want to know, when will your revision be finished? And I can tell you from my experience, revision is basically never finished. Perfect marks to 100% doesn't happen. You will put it off, and you'll put it off, and you'll put it off, and you'll get to May half term and you think, oh crap, exams are next week, best do a past paper. And now I've done 30% of the content. My content knowledge is really good, but now I've got 70% of all the exam technique and all the skills, which I haven't even begun to thought about. And now I've got 7 days to learn that 70% of the exam. And I'm good on the 30% because I've just spent the last 15 weeks doing the content, but I haven't done any of the major skills of linking topics. I haven't even tried to link those topics yet. It's catastrophe at that point. If you're watching this in May half term,
it's like
good luck.
Training for a marathon. Like, you spend ages kind of like, oh, I got to buy the right shoes. I make sure, I change my diet a little bit. Oh, I need some good running shorts. I get prepped in that way. And then like a month before the marathon, like, oh, I better start running now. Like, yeah, it's not going to work out, is it? So yeah, it's really, really important. And I think, especially since by the time you've done your revision, which has no end, as Rich said, then you're never going to be able to do all of those past papers. You're not going to be skilled or knowledgeable in the types of questions and the types of things they're looking for in the mark scheme. Somebody mentioned before, aren't you just remembering the mark scheme when you do the TT method? Well, that's not a bad thing, especially when they look for the same keywords or the same method when it comes to calculations or presenting your answer in maths. So it's definitely not a bad thing that you're doing that as you go along. So they are your
Ria's just, can I
Yeah.
just jump in there? Ria says she's done 3 papers. Is that too much in this week? What improvement have you seen, Ria? Let us know. I know you've been asking me questions in the course. Just give me a yes if you've been asking any of us questions in the using the half-term method and you've been corresponding with us teachers live this week. Anyone who's been using the TT method this week, what have your experiences been? Share it with those people who are pretty skeptical right now as thinking, oh, actually, I'm just like Ria C to an A. Yeah, so share what you've changed. Maybe you haven't seen anything. I mean, this is you guys to determine. Have you found it more productive than your normal revision strategy? Basically, they're my questions to you. Sorry, Rich, I cut you off a bit there.
No, it's fine. I'd say what I needed to say. I think that's amazing, going from a C to an A.
Yeah.
Just
what I'm used to. I don't think I've ever seen a student using this method not go up 2 grades unless they start on an A. It tends to bounce you 2 grades within 2 cycles of it. So like the first one and then the second one, by that time you've gone up 2 grades. The other thing that I want to say relating to Rich's point, the second mistake, which is waiting to do the past papers. I know that at the moment, so if you're in the second year, you can be doing this method with first year papers, can't you? All the AS papers are there. 50% of your A-level paper will be AS. So you can start right now, second years, using AS papers and using this method. I would say over the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks at the most, 4 to 5 weeks, it's a good idea to try to, while you're doing that TT method with the first year papers, try to finish the content for the second year. But let's say we hop forward 5 weeks. Let's say this is us talking to you again in 5 weeks' time. So that's the end of March, okay? At that point, even if you have not done some topics, I would say 100% start doing this process. Because what will happen? You do the paper, You fill in your sheet, your FFS, then you do your journal, then the marks I drop because I didn't know the content and the marks I drop because I need more practice. What you will find is 14 or something next to one thing, which is where you didn't know the content because you haven't learned it yet. And then what you can do is you can go, right, I'm going to go learn that. Don't wait for your teachers to do this. This is your A level. Go watch the videos and learn the topic. That's 14. It's the exact same process. When you get to the point where you're choosing what to do with your action hours, pick the one that you lost loads of marks on. But I tell you what might happen. You might get through the whole paper and there might not be a question on the topic, the chapter you haven't done yet, because you don't know how often that comes up, do you? It might only come up once every 3 years for all you know, and then you're holding off on papers because you haven't done chapter 11, but chapter 11 hardly ever comes up. If it comes up all the time, then you will find out because it will be on the very first paper you do. It will then be highlighted as your biggest need for work, and then you can do it. So just start, just get over that hump, get going, start using the method and let the method control and structure that revision for you, and you will start feeling a lot better very, very quickly. Promise.
Yeah, I think it's about you're absolutely right, Ron. It's about taking control. And it's like, if you don't know when your teachers are planning on finishing all the content, ask them. All right, and just say thank you very much, and you know what's coming. Maybe ask them if you haven't already got it for their scheme of work, so that you know what's coming up, so you can get ahead. And nobody ever got an A star just by being really passive and like just kind of being along for the ride. The A star students, the A students, they take control of their own learning. They use their free periods in school and college. Okay, you use those study periods. My advice would be to use those to do, you're going to get homework from your teachers, and somebody's mentioned this, there's, you get given a lot of extra work as well. And of course you're going to get homeworks and stuff. Your teachers are giving you that to do work outside of class. Try and use your free periods in school and college to do that kind of thing. When you get home and at the weekends, that's your time. That's your time to be applying this method and applying what you've learned in school and college to those past papers and practicing ready for the exam. So take control. Manage your time effectively, okay? Give yourself a break. Breaks are massively important. That's why we encourage action hours, 45 minutes solid work, 15 minutes break. But, take some breaks in school and college as well. Don't work every single free period, but use them to smash all your homework, and you can go home with a clear conscience then and think, right, now it's my time. I'm going to use the TT method, and this is what's going to help me improve my grade.
I was always a big advocate of, can I jump in there, Ronnie?
Email. No, and then you can. But it just reminded me what Rich said. I had an email from a teacher who said that they were emailing me because they saw a student's grade massively go up, and they'd asked the student what they've been doing, and the student had said they've been doing TT method. And the teacher had emailed me to say, what is it? Because I want to tell my students about it, just because they saw that improvement, which is really, really exciting. And it's totally free because it's a method for you to use. Sorry, Rich, I was excited.
Yeah, well, in which case, on that note, has anyone been, I'm sure we've got well over 100 people in here right now. So like anyone who's been using the TT method, or we'll be going through this with our students for a little while now, who's done a few cycles, not just one paper and then repeated, and anyone actually done a couple of cycles. They've done their first time paper a couple of times. I showed you the one progress tracker that we put out there. But if anyone who's in that boat, who's been a subscriber to us for a while, they've done a couple of papers for a single subject, like what differences have you seen? Because then everyone else, you can ask that person as to whether, are they just remembering the mark schemes, or is it actually improving? Where their first time attempt, like you're going to need for the exam. And as I kind of predicted, I've actually forgotten the thing that I was going to say, which is kind of why I wanted to jump in there and then. But what was it about? I can't remember. I really don't remember. In one ear and out the other. So we've done 45 minutes now, and we vowed to keep this under an hour.
I think we need to talk about the coupon code and the competition, mate.
Oh, the competition. I totally forgot about the competition. Okay, so if you are one of our subscribers, if you are not one of our subscribers, if it doesn't matter who you are, you can enter the competition and you will win an ultimate guide to one subject of your choice for the rest of this exam season. So until the end of June, beginning of July. And that will be for leaving a public Facebook review. Since Thursday last week was when it opened, when we invited you to do this, when the half-term class started. So leave a public Facebook review. You are not going to be selected on what you write. I want you to give me a genuine, heartfelt, like your experience of using tailored tutors. That can be because you've used the half-term pass, because you've been a subscriber for months and months and years and years. But give us your genuine opinion. We're going to pick the winner at random. The winner will be announced in our Monday check-in coming up. So Monday coming up, we'll basically announce the winner. The coupon, if you have been using the course this week, who wants to continue using tailored tutors? Just give us a little note in there. Like, you may or may not have a subscription right now. I'm guessing a lot of you will, a lot of you won't. The coupon's in the description. If you are new to us, then you can use that for 50% off any of the ultimate guides. So not the content guide or the exam guide on its own, but any of the multiple subject combinations: biology, chemistry, chemistry, maths, biology, chemistry, maths, AS, A-level, doesn't matter what, or the ultimate guide, which includes the exam guide and the content guide, exactly the thing that you have been trying out this week, or maybe even a bit longer than a week if you started it last Thursday. Then that's what you can get. 50% off your first month. After that, regular price. You can unsubscribe anytime you like, and it's very easy to do so from the course content overview page or the exam guide overview page, for that matter. Just my account, and then it takes you to check your payment date, all that kind of stuff. There's going to be one winner. We are going to pick one winner. Anything else that we are missing? Any sort of general feedback and questions, I think, to us? We can just do a couple. We're not going to be in it. What we will do is make sure you hit the bell on our YouTube channel, basically, because we will be doing lives on YouTube. If you don't get a subscription, we'll be doing bits and pieces we're on live 6 p.m. on a Monday every week with our student check-in. So guiding you through the TT method a bit more. You can join totally free. You can ask us questions, and we'll basically feedback to you and keep you on track a little bit on that Monday check-in, 6 p.m. on Monday. Hit the bell, and we also do sometimes other impromptu lives, so just like random lives here and there that just I'll do some biology ones, and then you can come and ask me some biology questions, and we might do some study with me's and some revision stuff. The closer we get to exams, the more present we're going to be on YouTube. So if you do, I saw someone asking about buying 2 courses. Buy the bundle. It'll be cheaper than buying biology ultimate guide and maths ultimate guide separately. You can buy biology and maths together. It's a bit cheaper.
Yeah. Rich, quick question.
You've lost your video, mate.
Oh no, where's my video gone?
Nice picture of you though.
Oh, is it? Oh, there you go. We'll keep that. All right. Sorry about that, guys. But quick question. If they haven't got Facebook, Rich, do you think we can include people who put a comment in the description on this YouTube video?
Yeah, okay. Well, it's going to be a nightmare to check, to be honest with you. But
can we have a quick thumbs up, or if you hate what we're saying, thumbs down on this video, just so that other people.
Oh yeah, give us a like on the video, guys. I mean, if you're if it's making sense to you, if you enjoyed your half-term pass, then,
got one thumbs down already. Which grumpy bugger was that?
I think that was earlier on. That was that was a lot earlier on, I think.
And also in the comments to this, let us know how a lot of people saying they're going to go away, try the TT method. Share your experiences. You can leave this as a bit of a thread if you're coming back to this for a bit of guidance, like what you get on your first attempt and then your repeats of that paper, but what you then, most importantly, what you get on your first attempt of the next paper, and so on and so forth.
I'm going to just give you a reminder for the people who are, the 130 people who are still here, because I really want this to be clear in your head to take away. Working topic by topic is not as effective as working paper by paper. Try to work paper by paper, not topic by topic. That's number 1. Number 2, start papers now. Do not wait at all. Start them today or tomorrow. And number 3, don't make yourself a horribly stressful plan where it has a day, let alone a flipping time associated with a specific task. Try to give yourself a week, and ideally just use the MID sheets, 1 paper per week, per subject, and that is going to structure your work in a way more stressful way, and it means that you can't get behind and that you're not watching it build up and you're not developing that stress. Stress is the biggest barrier to your learning. Reducing your stress is going to be the biggest way to make your revision time as effective as possible.
What type of revision should you do during action hours?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, was the same question? Okay,
Yeah.
so by filling in your marks by drop sheet, you're going to know whether it's FFS, just one of those things that just was one of those. I just made a stupid error right there. I read the scale on the graph wrong, something like that. Okay, and you keep your journal. That's how you can improve those sort of FFS, those slips that you keep a journal and you keep a track of it. And then maybe you can build a little self-check process when you're doing a graph question that you do check the scale at the beginning or the end of the paper or something like that. Then you've got your content knowledge. So what would be good ideas for active? Okay, so let's give you a little, in our exam guide, we've got videos structuring you through this. What is an action hour? It's 45 minutes, focused work, no distractions, no phone, no Instagram, none of this in the background. You write out, and it's really important that you write it down in this action hour. I am going to, and you write down a specific task. Otherwise, you just super easy to get distracted. If you've got the course, you could say maybe you're going to watch and write notes on 3 videos. If you've got flashcards for key terms or specific things that you definitely have to learn and you're a bit shaky on, you could just do active recall practice using your flashcards on that. You're gonna, if that's your content, then if it was one of those content blocks that you just totally didn't know, go back and fill in your content knowledge the best that you can, but try to make that process active. Copying notes from a book or writing up your notes in Neat is a very passive skill. If I get the 3 biggest revision mistakes are, like, that's only using what's called your short-term sensory store. You're not using any of your medium or long-term memory in order to retrieve that information. What you should be doing, if you can, is trying to retrieve that information from your head. So maybe watch the video all the way through front to back, one watch, no notes. Then print out the template note and then watch the video and write notes. But when you're writing notes, you pause the video. So you're not splitting your attention. It's all about focus in terms of what learning and getting information in there is about actual real sharp focus. So like if the video's playing and Ronnie's telling you something and you're writing down the last thing that she just said, your attention is split between those 2 things. And then your ability to remember either of them is reduced by much more than 50%. So watch the video, pause it, and then write your notes and then press play. If the video's playing, you're not writing. If you are writing, the video is not playing. For exam skills, I would say rephrase. Well, for me, it's much easier to do this subject specific. It's very hard to do this across the subjects, but types of question. Are there certain types of questions? So for example, if I go AQA biology, you've got the essay question. Everyone revises for the essay question mostly, but what you don't get is the penultimate question on paper 3 is a 15 marker. The essay is 25. No one ever revises the penultimate question of A-level paper 3 from AQA. No one ever revises the paper 2 and A-level paper 1 as factual recall questions. There's types of questions that are out there that only look at exam skills. Right now, I'm classifying all the questions for our brand new exam guide resorting that's coming up pretty soon. And there are some questions, there are no topics in there. I don't put a single topic in there. It's all exam skill. It's stats. It's about using controls. It's about apparatus and techniques. It's about all these different things, which are not a topic, which you won't have revised. So all the topic revision in the world won't help you with these things. So basically join the course and ask us questions inside, and we can give you some more structured action hours and hold your hand with like getting you used to what kind of revision things you should be doing in those sort of study sessions. I think we've hit nearly the hour mark, Ronnie and Rich.
Oh, yeah.
And we promise we keep it under an hour. If you do have any other questions, obviously, just ask us a question inside the course. Yeah, if you had the half-term pass, I hope you found it useful. Yeah, leave a review on Facebook and we'll pick a winner and announce it on Monday. Use the coupon if you do want to start a subscription. I'd say you won't get a better chance, basically, trying it for a month now. Just trying it for a month, you will get loads of people. We'll have hundreds of people, maybe even thousands of people joining the course in the final week of May. How many people do we
have in the half-term pass, Rich? Like 1,200 people at least?
Yeah. And if you start and pick this off piece by piece between now and the exam, using us as your tutors, using us as your structure to guide you through, you're going to avoid a whole lot of stress. If you come and buy the course in the last week of May, it will still probably help you out tremendously, because you'll probably need something at that point, and it's the fastest way of learning any of the content, certainly for my subject. I'm sure for all these subjects as well. Like, I don't know a faster way of learning the content or getting the information in your head, but there's only so much we can do in a week. We've now got a couple of months, we've got 15 weeks. You can actually make a real solid, predictable difference. Okay. Any other questions? Then you can reach us via our website. If you go to tailoredtutors.co.uk, you can contact us via there. There's an online chat. We're there in the evenings in the week. So open up the chat. If you're there after school, you got any questions about what the subscription looks like, how to cancel it, what the coupons expire at the end of this month. So you've got to do it right now. And in fact, one more thing I'm going to say to you is that if you subscribe this month, not only do you get that coupon, but you will also get our How to Revise courses chucked in as well, which is a course that's structured to show you how to use the TT method. We're going to be revamping that and making it even better soon, but that will talk you through how to use the TT method. And that's a bonus course that you can only get by joining a subscription in this month, basically. We're going to remove it from March because we're going to revamp it and release it again later in the year. That's about it from me. Any final messages from you two?
Just get stuck in and enjoy it, I would say. I'm sorry I haven't got my video, which is really bad, but there we go. I don't know what's happened there. But essentially, yeah, like Rich said, you'll never get a better opportunity than just try it for a longer period. You've had it for a week and a little bit, but you know what? Use it for a month, use the TT method, you will see an improvement, okay? And yeah, just trust us on this one, and we're on hand basically 24/7 to answer all your questions and stuff in the course, and you've got our live classes as well. So yeah, get stuck in.
I just thought of one thing I was going to say is that this week it's been very exciting. Those of you in the maths course will hopefully see this. If you go to live registrations, me and a group of students, we did the whole A-level revision notes in 1 week. I think it's a total of less than 10 hours. And we did it over the course of this week, and those students that have come along to every single one have now got a complete set of notes on the whole A-level, and they know which bits they need to go and do a bit more work on. And those recordings are all in the maths course. They're on the lives registration page at the top.
My final words are going to be: try the TT method, pick a paper, do it. What is the worst that can happen if you're doing a past paper and then doing some revision? What's the downside to trying it? I personally can't see any downside to trying it. It will seem scary. It will seem a bit out of your comfort zone. Give it a go. Try it for yourself. And we can't ask any more of you than that. So I'd say on that note, cheerio.